Hello and welcome back to a Toasty Hen knitting and sewing update video. This is my February wrap up. It is already the end of February. I cannot believe how fast um this month seems to have gone. I feel like January takes like it's like 1,000 days, and then February just flies by. At least it did for me. I was able to do quite a bit of knitting this month and some sewing. I don't have too many of my sewing updates here with me right now. I have one big one, which you may see behind me um, on the couch. And I also have a few book updates to go over. So grab a project, grab something to drink. I'm going to take a sip of water and we'll get started. All right. So, first off, I'll talk about what I already mentioned behind me. I finished this quilt the other day. This is a log cabin quilt that I'll put a picture in. I started when I took a 4-H sewing class in 2012. So this quilt top has been done since then. And I was always intimidated by the actual quilting process. It is a just simple log cabin block. It's been done for a long time, but I finally quilted it. I put the backing on. I just did, you can kind of see some wavy lines here. I just kind of organically did them. I wasn't really concerned about if they overlapped, fine. If not, whatever. I just liked the organic look of that. That's how I quilt a lot of my quilts, actually. It's just kind of wavy lines, very forgiving. And then for the back, I pieced this kind of floral pattern with this brown, I don't remember what it is, but anyway, I pieced the back so it's got like a big stripe down the middle, and it is roughly 76 inches by about 55 inches. So it's a good size throw blanket. So perfect for the back of the couch, snuggling up in the recliner. Very, very useful size. I don't actually remember which specific pattern I used for this because I made it so long ago. But yeah, I'm very, very happy to have this out of a box and being able to use it. It has actually moved with me from my family's original house. We moved from the house that I mostly grew up in 2014 to the house where my parents still live. And I know it moved with me then. And then after that, I moved away to go work at a camp for a couple of years. It stayed at my parents' house. And then this quilt moved from my parents' house to the apartment that my husband and I lived in for a little while. And then when we moved into this house a year and a half ago, it moved then. So this quilt top has moved several times. And I'm happy to say it is finally able to be on display and in a finished quilt. All right, that is the biggest sewing accomplishment I have right now. I also, if you watched my finish or frog video, you will recognize this shawl. It just needed the ends woven in. So the ends have been woven in. I've even worn it once or twice, and it's very, very drapey. I love this. There is currently not a pattern for this. I have the notes somewhere of how I made this shawl. And if I get around to it and the brain capacity for it, I will write this up into a pattern. But I used the Wonderland Fibers. I used one of their gradient packs and a full skein. I, off the top of my head, cannot remember the colorways, but it is a gray gradient and then this really gorgeous orange tonal. Let's see if I can show that. So this is all a seed stitch and the rest of it is stockinette. So I did a couple rows of garter, and on this end, I cannot remember how many stitches I cast on, did a couple rows of garter, and then just worked in stockinette, increasing on one side, decreasing on the other to get this shape. And then when I was almost done with the first gray gradient, I did seed stitch, keeping that increase and decrease. And then I did another gray section. And you can see I did my orange contrasting in different widths, and the gray is all the same. The biggest hangup and why I never actually finished writing this into a pattern was I did not know, and I still haven't looked at it again to figure out how to write the increase and decrease instructions with this seed stitch in a way that makes sense for other people to follow. In my brain, I could just figure it out and I could just do it. But to write that out in a way that other people can understand and will be able to follow was the biggest hang up. So yeah, that's why I haven't done it. Especially once you get to the section, you're just repeating that same repeat of, because you knit and purl every other row. I'm sure I could figure it out, but I just haven't done it. And then I just did like a standard stretchy bind off. Yeah, no pattern, no pattern name. Maybe it will be someday. I do have some other mini skeins that I could use to make another sample and write the pattern from that. So we'll see. I have several other projects queued up for 2025. So maybe this will be a here and there 2025 project to be released as a pattern in 2026. We shall see. But also, I believe from that finisher frog video was these caramel sauce socks. So these are patterned by Joji Locatelli. They are the caramel sauce. So they have a really nice lace work detail on the top of the foot and on the cuff. I shortened the pattern. I prefer shorty socks a lot of the time. I worked the cuff and I had one sock was completely done. And then I had worked the heel and the heel turn and was at the point where I was joining in the round with the heel decreases or the instep decreases. So I just had to do the body of the foot. And I worked out that each lace section took me about a half an hour to knit. So while I was pumping late at night, and by late at night I mean at like 11:30 p.m., I would work on these socks. So it took me about a week, but I was able to finish them. And then last week, Saturday, I just kind of got in the groove. And that Saturday afternoon, I just sat while baby was napping and I finished these. They even got blocked, so they are ready to wear. So I'm very excited about these. Anyway, my caramel sauce socks are finally done and I can wear them. I am also very excited to have finished my second Ave Sweatshirt. So I believe I had mentioned this in my previous video that I had tried it on and my sleeves felt a little bit short. But I blocked it and I actually ended up loving right where they sat. So then I just picked up the stitches again and finished the cuff. So this is the second Ave Sweatshirt by Brianna of the Little Wolf Knits. And I really like the construction of this sweater. I wasn't sure about it at first, but you cast on for the back panel, you work the back panel, and then you pick up stitches for the front and join it in the round once you work flat until you get to the armpit, and then you join it in the round. So I did the bottom binding here, and I made mine actually I think a little bit longer than the pattern, which is unusual. I normally do them cropped, but I really loved the fit of this. I really love the fit of this. It's like super cozy sweatshirt. It's made out of Emma's Simply Spectacular DK, and the body of this is knit on a US 7, so it is super drapey with a DK weight yarn, and I love this collar detail. One thing I did change, I think if I remember right, they have you doing, there's one of my hairs knit into it. Anyway, I think one thing I did change is I'm pretty sure the pattern has you do a tubular bind off. I just could not make that work for me, so I just did Judy's surprisingly stretchy. That is my go-to bind off, so I just did that. It doesn't, to me, does not make that big of a difference for something like this. So anyway, I'm so excited to wear this. I'm really hoping I get to. We've had a little bit of a warm spell and most of our snow is gone, and I'm sorry, I don't know if you can hear it. It is super windy today, but this is the only time I have to record a video, so we're going with it. Anyway, this is all blocked, ready to wear. If I get to go to social knitting soon, I might wear this unless it's a little too warm, but we'll see. But that's done. Last item I have to show right now is not something that I made. It is something that my aunt made, and I blocked it. So it is a hat and mittens for my daughter. So this is knit on La Jolla. I don't remember the exact pattern name, but I will put it up here. So yeah, she made this for her. It's super cute. She has the little I-cord ties, and then there's coordinating little mittens. So I'm hoping she gets to wear it, but it does look big enough. I think she'll be able to wear it next year as well. So the aunt who made this is the one who taught me how to knit a very long time ago. I think I was thinking about it, and I was when my middle brother was born, and he was born in 2001. So I think that's when it was. Anyway, so she made this, and I think it's super, super sweet. And we picked out the color, and this is actually some leftover yarn from another sweater I had done. So yeah, I love this. And she did the I-cord tie for the mittens, so they're connected, so you can like put it under their outfit and you don't lose your mitten. So I'm very excited to have her wear these, and it's a gorgeous keepsake. Oh, I did finish one more thing from my Finish Your Frog series. I finished this purple gradient blanket. It was my first corner to corner project for crochet. I did not follow a pattern. I just knit until, or crocheted until I got done with one skein of, it's just like the Red Heart gradient yarn. And then I picked up the second skein and started my decreases. It's a little wonky. Don't look too closely, but it has a border now. And the reason I don't have it here is because it is currently in my washing machine because we've been using it. So that was my other finished object for the month of February. All right. Now that we've gone through a few of the things that I have finished, let's move on to works in progress. This will be a little bit longer section because I cannot stop casting on new things, and I have not finished as much as I should have. I don't know if I've actually shown, but I think I've talked about it. This is my Strange Brew by Tin Can Knits. So that is a fantastic pattern. Basically, they give you the instructions on how to knit a sweater in fingering, DK, and Aran worsted weight from baby size all the way through men's size, like men's 2 or 3X, maybe 4X, I don't remember. So I cast this one on kind of like following the sea glass texture. I'm using Blue Sky Fibers like mini skein, as well as just the cream white color. So the main body of this will be cream / white, and then I'll do the sleeves, and I have more of this bright blue to do a little bit of detailing on the cuff and on the bottom band as well. So I'm going to do a little bit of detailing and then do the cuffs in this as well. And I do plan on doing this as making this as a long sleeve sweater, but once I get the body done, I might change my mind. I don't know. So anyway, I'm just doing some color work on this. The reason that it is in its current state and I have it on some pearl string keeper things is because my tension was changing quite a bit after I finished the color work, and it's been almost a year since I worked on this. I put a lot of projects on hold while I was pregnant because I couldn't figure out how long I needed to make them. So I blocked this so I could see how that color work was going to open up to see if I needed to adjust my needle size, and if so, how much my gauge was changing. So now that it is blocked, I have a little bit more of an idea of how this is going to fit. So this will probably go on hold until this summer. I know working on a full wool sweater in the middle of summer is not probably ideal, but I just have so many other projects right now, and it is not currently a high priority just because we are going into spring and summer, and I don't really want to be working on a full wool sweater. I probably will pick this back up in the fall so that I can wear it over the winter. So this is going to go on hold for now, but it is in a better spot. So that is my Tin Can Knits Strange Brew sweater. Next up, we will talk about this project bag. This is my Lace and Fade Boxy by Joji Locatelli. And I have another Joji design on my needles right now, which I'll get to in a minute. But at one point, I had 3 Joji designs on my needles. And I was like, I need to get some of these off. They need to get finished. So I've already done the sleeves, and I picked up the collar. And the last time we saw this, I had not done this next mohair section so we can actually move that progress keeper, because I was waiting to move it until I had finished a mohair section because I didn't want to pull on a single strand of mohair. But I am, I don't know if you can see that. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm like 8 rows into my next colorway, which is in a jam. Oops, that is not the right one. There it is. In a jam. This is La Jolla yarns. So this is all La Jolla, and I'm using a Malabrigo like mohair weight or lace weight. So I am absolutely in love with this sweater. So I have to finish this purple section and then one more lace section, and then finally I have this gray that will be my last section, and then the bottom ribbing, and this will be off my needles. I am so excited to wear this. I'm hoping, my goal is to finish this by the end of April so that I can wear this on local yarn store day, because I usually help out at my yarn store. It's super fun. I love doing it. I've done it the last couple of years. And if I don't have this one done, I will probably wear a different sweater that I've made with the anniversary yarn from last year. But this is my goal, is to have this done by the end of April, which at the rate that I've been going is very doable. We'll see. But this, like I said, is my lace and fade boxy. I am in the final stretch. I am so close. The reason that these rows take so long is because it is a very wide, like, drop shoulder. Like, you can see how wide that is. Lace work in single strand mohair is not difficult. It is a very simple lace work pattern. The rows are just like so many stitches. So many stitches. So a row takes me like almost 10 minutes sometimes, depending on which lace row I'm on. So that is my lace and fade boxy. Making good progress on that. So it had been sitting for a while without any progress. So I'm happy to say progress has been made. If you like those colors, oops, with those same colors, I had calculated after I had finished a couple sections how much yarn I would need. I really wanted to cast on a tank top last summer, so I cast on the C Street tank by Brianna of the Little Wolf Knits. And this is one that I started in, I think I started this in July, but I couldn't do too much work on it because I couldn't figure out how long I wanted it with the baby bump. So I started this up again. And since the last time I showed it with my little narwhal here, I've done about 2 inches on the main body. And I'm just doing this as a 4x4 row stripe repeat, using up the yarn from my other sweater. So I've made some good progress on this. I can't remember exactly how long I wanted to make it. I should probably try it on again soon. And then I need to pick up all the bands. But I'm waiting to do all of the bands until I know how much yarn I have left over from this and even from my lace and fade, because I don't know what colors I want to do for the bands. And I may end up having to get more yarn. Oh, darn. But this is coming along. I don't really have a specific deadline on when I want to finish this tank top. I just know that I want to have it done so that I can wear it this summer. So this may be an April, May finish project. We'll see. I have several projects that have a little bit earlier deadlines because I did this myself. I have been making a muscle burrow, which is an ingenious pattern. I am really enjoying it so far. So you cast on, there's my progress keeper. Basically you cast on a few stitches, and then you just do a bunch of increases, and in the pattern, it has really detailed instructions on how to gauge as you go. And based on your gauge, once you get to a certain point, it tells you like how many increases you need to do to get your brim size. And then you just knit the body, and then you end up like flipping the hat. So it's double layer. So I'm really liking the way this alba is working up with the mohair. I have used one skein, or it's not even a full skein. They're like little leftover little donuts. So I had held this double for my tessellated. So I used one of them up so far, and it's like right there. And if I end up running out of the mohair, I will just continue with just the elbow, and I'll tuck that on the inside of the hat. So since I showed this last, I've done a few inches on the main body, and I am very pleased with that progress so far. I spent a lot of my time in February finishing my second Ave sweatshirt and dedicated on my lace and fade. And you will also see a couple of the projects that I have recently started. I'm making good progress on those too. So I'm just kind of jumping all around based on the vibes and how much brain capacity I have to work on any given project at any given time. This one, actually, I've been leaving in my car in case I get nap trapped in the car. It's a good, easy project to take in, to just work on in the car, or to take in with me if I'm like, I don't know, I don't really go anywhere besides like the grocery store and my parents' house. So, and the yarn store. But I can bring other projects to the yarn store because baby girl gets to be held by all her grandmas and aunties, and I get to knit. So that's the other reason I've been able to get a lot of knitting done, is because I go to social knitting at the yarn store, and baby girl gets held by other people and hangs out with other people. I'm obviously right there too, but she gets held and she has a great time. So I believe that I showed this one. Over the last couple of years, I have knit myself and my husband Christmas stockings. These do need to be blocked, but haven't gotten to that yet. So these are mine and my husband's. Mine has the coffee cups. I did the row of axes. These are from Pacific Knit Co. doodles. So I have all the holiday doodle packs as well as the fantasy doodle deck, and each of them has a fantasy element. So mine has little dragons, his has the axes, and baby girl's has the little unicorns. So hers I had planned out all of the doodles that I wanted to use for hers, and I had the unicorn on there, and I really wanted to do it. But I couldn't figure out what color I wanted to do the horn. And I saw on, I think it was Instagram, somebody had done this same motif, and they did the horn the same color as the body. And I was like, oh, that's genius. I should just do that too. So I did that, and then I was able to fly through that next section. I love working on this because the charts are so easy to follow. I actually laminated all mine. I printed the pattern, cut them out, and then laminated them and then cut them all down. So I could make myself a little like doodle chart book, and then I have all the charts, and then I can kind of play with them and see what I like, and then I can arrange them into like their own little books. So making progress on her stocking. Obviously Christmas is my deadline for that, so it's kind of in between other projects if I feel like doing some color work. But I am going for kind of like the vintage Christmas, mid-century modern vibes, and I am loving this set so far. So I think if I showed this before, I was at the beginning of the unicorn section, so I've done a little bit. So I don't know if I'll put a progress. Oh, is there a progress keeper? There is a progress keeper. There's a little squirrel. There's a little squirrel one. So I'll move that after this green section. So yes, I am also doing this on wool stock. I believe this is the wool stock, the DK weight, Blue Sky Fibers wool stock in DK weight. I would not say I recommend this yarn in particular for this color work on the stocking. It on a sweater, I think this would be great. However, because of the texture of the yarn and the ply of it, you do lose some of the detail in some of these motifs. I'm not saying it's like terrible. I am sticking, like, obviously I'm going to finish my set and I'll continue to make more of them in this color palette, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend this yarn. I would recommend a smoother yarn like Malabrigo or Emma's yarn, like the Malabrigo Rios or Emma's Simply Spectacular DK, Wonderland Fibers. I'm sure there's other ones, but my mind is blank on other yarns. Even like just a worse like Big Twist yarn from Joann's. Something like that has a little bit less texture, just because you lose out on some of the definition because of the texture. But that is just a me thing. Um, I would make other recommendations. And if I was to start these over, which I'm not going to, um, it's so much work to redo. I would recommend a different yarn, but I absolutely love my stockings and I would not change it. So, and then they're in this little caddy that I made too. So maybe I'll make some more of these. I did add some faux leather on the bottom, but I like that little bag. Keeps everything together for that I need for that project. The next two designs I'm going to talk about are recent cast on. However, they are both test knits, and one of them is a secret test knit. So I'm just going to give you a very, very quick sneak peek and show you my color palette. And then the other one I'll show you. But I'm using Encore Tweed in these beautiful colors. So that is my color palette for this test knit. That's all I'm going to show you. That's all the detail I'm going to go. It's worsted weight. I cannot wait to show more when I can. Right. And then my second test knit, I think it's a Malabrigo sock in the color Fiona. We did a bunch of Ravelry researching, and just based on the tonals, it gives Malabrigo vibes to me. So I don't actually know for sure, but that's my best educated guess. But I had enough weight wise. And then this is my second test knit, but this green is absolutely gorgeous. I'm not going to give you too many details of this one yet, but it's got gorgeous garter ribs and it's a top down raglan and it has some lace work thrown in there too. That one I need to have done by mid-March, so I should probably work on that one for more exclusively for a little bit, because I'm still in yoke increases and I need to join it in the round. So I'm very excited to get to wear that one because the green is working up beautifully. There is only one more thing actively on my needles right now that I have sort of made progress on. Do I need to add another project right now? No. You've seen all these projects that I've just showed you. Plus, I have more that are on my needles that I have not worked on. However, Andrew Mowry's March to May knit along is starting in March, obviously. It's March to May. And I had these two yarns in my stash. This is a Malabrigo Rios color. I don't know off the top of my head. I forgot to grab the label, but it is this gorgeous like autumn print. And I've had this Barocco vintage, I think this one's a worsted, in my stash for years. I haven't really vibed with the color, so I haven't made anything with it yet. And I was playing around with stuff and I'm like, I actually kind of like these two colors together. The tones are a little bit off, like they're not exactly the same, but I'm like, I was thinking about making a traveler crew neck with this worsted. And then I found this one and I was like, I wonder how that would be if I throw a mohair in with it. And my local yarn store was having is it Marisol? I think it's Marisol. They had Inca and they had another one in for a trunk show. So I brought these into the store, held it up with this mohair, and I was like, ooh, I love that. So I was like, looked at the yardage, and the yardage is just right for a tessellated pullover. I think it's like maybe 20 yards shy. So what I may end up doing is just a short sleeve version, but I started swatching. I don't know if you can see that very well, but I started a little baby swatch, curling a little bit just because there's not much on there. So I started this little baby swatch and you can't really see it. Oh, there you can kind of see. But I am really liking the colors of this for a tessellated. This was the Rhinebeck design a couple of years ago. Oh, there you go. So I started swatching for a tessellated pullover. So I have plenty of the Barocco and I have 3 skeins of the Rios and I've just got 1 ball of the mohair, but I'm excited to see this work up. I don't really need to start a new project, but I really want to start this as part of the March to May knit along to see how much I can get done. So I may pause my tank top and my muscle burrow just for now because I don't know. I know from making a tessellated vest that this design does work up pretty fast, just because of the way that it's constructed. So I feel like I could make some pretty quick progress on the body of the sweater. Like I said, I might also just do short sleeve because then I get more wear out of it. I don't know. I haven't decided for sure what sleeve length I'm going to do yet. But there's my tessellated pullover swatch and my colors. So, all right. I think that's everything that I've worked on. Hopefully for my February or my March update, I'll have some more finished objects. I should be able to show you one of my test knits by then. And like I said, I'm also hoping to get some good progress made on my lace and fade so I can wear that at the end of April. But yeah, that is what I've been working on. Not a lot of sewing, a lot of knitting, because after baby girl goes to bed, I usually sit and watch TV and do some knitting, or I listen to my audiobook while I do my late night pump because I want to read like an actual book, but I'm so tired by that point that I can't have a hard time like actually reading. So I usually do an audiobook and I sit on the couch with my heating pad and stay nice and warm. So on that note, in February, I finished 4 books. One of them was on Kindle, 3 of them were audio. No, hold on. I think I finished 5 books. I have my story graph up right here. I take that back. I read 5 books in the month of February. 4 of them were audio. 1 of them was a Kindle. So I read Cursed. You can't see this. I finished Cursed by Marissa Meyer. That is part of a duology. It is Gilded and Cursed. It is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. Marissa Meyer also wrote the Lunar Chronicles, if you're not familiar, which is like a sci-fi futuristic princess story retelling. So I loved those books. I read them when I was younger and I really, really enjoyed them. So I wanted to read more of Marissa Meyer's work. So I enjoyed Cursed. It had been a while since I read Gilded, but I just jumped right into it. It was fine. I also read The Maid and the Crocodile. This is part of the Ray Bearer world. I like this one. This was really good. It has a lot of like African lore and mythology, and I really enjoyed that different perspective. So I really liked The Maid and the Crocodile. It's a very nice story. I got a little bit lost at points because I forgot that it was part of the Raybearer world, and it's just I enjoyed it. I want to continue if Jordan writes anymore. I would be very happy to continue that reading. I also read From the Nightshade Crown by Hannah Witten, The Foxglove King, and The Hemlock Queen. I have a physical copy of The Foxglove King, but they became available through my library on audio, so I listened to both of them. And I kind of flew through The Hemlock Queen, and as I was getting towards the end, I'm like, there's a lot going on. This is not going to be a duology, and there is a 3rd book coming out at some point. I really enjoyed the magic system in this. It's a very unique concept. It kind of at times gave me One Dark Window vibes, just with like some of the stuff that happens, which I enjoyed that series too, by Rachel Gillig. So I enjoyed The Foxglove King and Hemlock Queen. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at book reviews. I read the books and I'm like, ooh, I enjoyed that, or I didn't really vibe with that. I don't follow me for like in-depth book reviews. That is not me. I read for the enjoyment of reading, not to give a presentation on the book afterwards. Anyway, the only book that I actually read with my eyeballs this year, wow. The only book that I actually read with my eyeballs this month was Nightshade by Autumn Woods, which is from Sorrow Song, part of the Sorrow Song University series. I don't know if this is going to be a duology or a series. Basically, the female main character, her parents tragically died in a helicopter accident, and she goes to the secondary school in Scotland, and she's trying to figure out what happened and solve why her parents, like what happened for this accident. and she ends up meeting the son of the person who she thinks did it, and they are rivals and things happen, and it ends on a massive cliffhanger, which I knew going into it. And I believe that the next book is coming out later this year. I'm not entirely sure, but I would love to continue in that series. So it's an academic rivalry situation. Recommend it. Enjoyed that. Those are my 5 books for the month of February. Realistically, I read way more than that, but I don't count the books that I read to my daughter because I read a lot of books to her. So I say that Nightshade was the only book that I read with my eyes, but I out loud read a lot of children's books. But you can only read and count Chicka Chicka Boom Boom and That's Not My Unicorn and our indestructible color books so many times before you don't really count them anymore. So we were doing our winter reading challenge for our local library for January, February. So it was 15 minutes of reading for her, 30 minutes for me. So she listened to audiobooks with me and I read books out loud to her, and it was a great time. I have also been reading Mistborn to her. I started Babel by R.F. Kuang. I'm listening to that on audio. I have Sword of Destiny in the Witcher universe ready to go on Audible. No, library. Sword of Destiny is from my library. I don't know. I'm probably gonna start another one. I can't remember which book I queued up on my Kindle. But yeah, we have some more reading to do, some more knitting to do, and yeah, I'll be back. I'm gonna try to do a mid-month update versus just cramming everything into one video for the whole month. We'll see if I get around to that. I tried to record this video halfway through the month, but my audio got messed up. I don't know what happened. I think my mic died halfway through, and my husband was home the day I recorded, and I could hear him in the background playing games and talking to his coworkers because they were all off because it was so cold. So we'll see if I get to record a mid-month update. We'll see. I might not have worked on anything. Who knows? Anyway, this week I am also planning to get back into my sourdough. I recently acquired a new sourdough starter. Mine had kind of not survived the move and being pregnant, so I pulled it out of the fridge and I don't think it was sealed tight and there was mold. So that got trashed and I got a new one. So I have some sourdough focaccia and proofing right now to make some pizza for dinner, and we're so excited for that. My husband and I love to do pizza Fridays. I'm recording this on Friday, the end of the month. So we love to do pizza Fridays. So I made some chicken. We're going to do barbecue chicken pizza and regular, like, tomato, pepperoni. Like, if fancy, throw some bacon on it. Who knows? Anyway, that's what I have planned for the rest of the day. I also am hoping to do an Etsy shop update pretty soon. I have several bins of stuff ready to be listed, so check back for that. I'll probably do a video of showing off some of the stuff that I'll have available in my shop. Check back in and I will do some updates on some new things available in my Etsy store. I have them all stacked up ready to go. I just need to take pictures and finish editing the listing. They're like 90% of the way there, but I just need to put the finishing touches on those listings, and I will have some reusable paper towels ready, some more key fobs, some headbands, scrunchies. I'll probably do a video when I get those listed just so you can see some of the stuff that's there, and check back for some more updates if you want to see the progress I'm making on these projects. I have lots of things on my needles, and I'm hoping that this year I get to finish some of the big projects that are on my needles so I can cast on more. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the stuff that I'm working on right now and some of the things I hope to get to soon and to finish. Have a nice day. Go knit all the things. Have a super crafty weekend, and I will see you back shortly, probably in another week or two, with more updates and some things I'm working on.